Hello, I'm Andrew Craston, Director of Economics at ASFA. I'm in the ASFA studio for part 4 of a 4-part discussion on MetLife's Future Insights Report. We're focusing on the collective aspiration for security and stability. And I'm joined by Lina, MetLife Australia's Chief Customer and Marketing Officer, and by Michael Roberts, MetLife's Global Chief Marketing Officer. Michael, in what way has security and safety deteriorated for consumers over recent years?
So Andrew, let me go back to where we started this series. You know, it's the stacked crises that people are experiencing are taking a toll, and across all of the dimensions we investigated, more people perceive the world as less safe or stable across all of these dimensions. These dimensions included questions about financial safety and stability, climate safety, emotional safety and stability, housing safety and security, physical safety, digital safety, job security, health access. And you know what we're seeing because of that perception of a less safe and stable overall environment, we're seeing that people are being a lot more proactive. We talked briefly about this in part 2 regarding with regards to wellness, but we're also seeing this more broadly through actions people are taking. And some of those actions include strengthening social connections, creating specific personal defenses, but also other means of protection like insurance. What's also interesting in the data is that we've seen that consumers are looking to companies and to technology to help them establish that sense of security and safety. So more than 50% surveyed globally feel that companies care for their employees, and how companies commit to addressing climate change and how companies make long-term commitments, all of that can make them feel more secure. So there's a strong role for companies to help that feeling, help create that feeling of stability and security. And we also saw that there was optimism about the role of technology in helping with that feeling of security. You know, 56% felt that the increased development and use of artificial intelligence could make them feel more secure. But they also needed assurance that it would be used responsibly. You know, 77% of those surveys globally said they're more likely to trust companies that have policies on how they use artificial intelligence ethically. You know, and this highlights the importance of good corporate policy and governance. But there's a strong role that corporations and technology can play in helping people feel more safe and secure.
Thanks, Michael. Lina, how can companies rebuild trust with Australians?
So we heard Michael talk about some really interesting stats around how globally people are feeling and how anxious they are about the future. The stats he shared were for Australia are a bit higher than global, but when we looked at the research, what we found was people want to partner with organisations or understand that that organisations are actually thinking about how can we create a safer environment moving forward. That's something they're really looking for leadership on. What we also saw was 61% of Australians want organisations to make a longer term commitment. Now, that related to a number of things. Things like, what is the position on climate change? So 53% of Australians told us in the research that they want to see that organisations are more committed to long term, what is our climate change plan? And also the well-being of their employees. So people want to see that organisations are thinking about this, and it's part of not just something they're looking at now, but what they're looking at in the long term. 61% of Australians told us that they're a little bit worried about where their data is going to land. And we're all becoming very digitally savvy, and they're worried about the digital safety. Yep. People want to feel that organisations are being very careful, but they also want some transparency on how their data is being used and where it's actually being used. So there's this sense of organisations need to be more transparent with what they're actually doing with the data to build that confidence in people. So trust is a really valuable commodity, and organisations really have an opportunity to build that sense of safety for their employees and for customers. And they can do this through focusing on things like their data security, their ethical technology, and the focus they put on the overall well-being of their employees and of their customers. And by doing this, it actually speaks volumes to not only their employees, but their customers. Life insurance is a really important financial safety net, and you know, having solutions like 360 Health is amazing and helps people live healthier for longer, but it's also important to build the awareness of what life insurance is and the fact that it's within their superannuation and the benefits that it brings and the security it provides to customers. So it's important we focus on how do we build that awareness so that members can actually make an informed decision on what cover they need.
Thank you, Lina. And thank you to Michael. Thanks to both of you for sharing your research, analysis and insights. Head to metlife.com.au to find out more about the MetLife Future Insights Report. This is Andrew Craston in the ASFA studio.